Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at one of my old favorites, Space Alert from Czech Games Edition. And no disclaimer needed for this one. I bought my copy like a billion years ago when it first came out. I actually pre-ordered it from Essen. What the heck? Space Alert mixes cooperative card programming with real-time gameplay for a chaotic mix of insanity, but is it fun? Let's find out and get to the list. So first, to start out, I want to get my big cons for the game out of the way at number 5. And I kind of combined two things in here. It's the downtime, or the potential for downtime, and alpha player syndrome. And for the first one, downtime, you might be thinking, Mike, what the heck are you talking about? It's a real-time game. But here's the thing. In the game, you'll often be waiting to hear which threat is coming next, or waiting to see what other players do, or you'll have kind of finished your actions and you're just biding your time until you find out where you're needed. So there's actually a good amount of just sitting. Like in the 10-minute soundtrack, I'll often spend 3 minutes of that just kind of hanging out and watching what other players are doing, which isn't always too fun. And as for the alpha player problem, well, I say that because I've been guilty of it. This is a game where you really need your pieces and players' movements to come together in just the right way to survive, and it's really tough to fight the urge to be like, okay, I want you to go there. No, you go to red. You shoot on turn 4. You can avoid that by letting people do what they want and just dealing with it if you blow up horribly, but the game definitely has the potential because coordination is so important. And on to my number 4, which is going to be a mix, and that's the depth of the game, which sounds like an only good thing, right? But here's the issue. Yes, the game has depth. Yes, it can be amazing to solve these really, really challenging tactical puzzles when you all get your machinery working in the exact way and perfectly thread the needle to destroy something. But to get to that point, at least in cooperative play, for solo you can ignore this complaint. You need to spend some time getting every player keyed up and knowledgeable and really understanding of the full picture of what's going on in the game, how the enemies work, which can be confusing. Now, in the game's defense, they include a great series of tutorial missions, which are hilarious in their writing and also help to walk new players through the game, but you can sometimes feel like you have to run players through that every time you play with them unless you get a consistent group going, and if you get good at the game and want to have a group that'll kind of match you so you don't act like an alpha player, it can be a little bit challenging. And there's another mix at number 3, which is focused on the resolution phase, where you see how all your actions played out. On the positive side, if you like chaos and surprises, this part of the game can be a blast, because you spend the real-time section planning and programming your cards, and then you reveal what actually happened and where people actually went, and oh no, you took an elevator there, you totally screwed up all our plans, or we didn't destroy that guy, he blew us up 5 turns ago. But at the same time, this can be a negative, because first of all, unlike many programming games, it's all or nothing. You do all your programming and then you see how all of it turned out, compared to something like Mechs vs. Minions or Quirky Circuits, where you do one turn and you get to kind of see if you messed up. And also sometimes just resolving this phase of the game can be kind of a drag, especially if you really see what's already going to happen. You kind of already know you did stuff right. Just going through and sort of checking your math, which is what it feels like sometimes, can be a bit boring. But of course, I'm going to end with some pros, and for my number 2, I'm focusing on the core cooperative programming in the game. I've already mentioned this some in the previous points, but the programming in the game is both incredibly simplistic. You only place up to 12 cards, and they have very simple actions. But at the same time, it is incredibly tense and puzzly and tactical, because you have to perfectly line up your timing, not just with the enemies, but also with the other players. If you don't push the right button at the exact time, coordinate this attack with that person's action, then nothing will go right. But when you do, you can achieve amazing results. Take down scores of enemies one after the other in this beautiful chain of events. It's just really amazing when it clicks, and even when it doesn't, the chaos of yelling at each other and trying to figure things out can still be a lot of fun as long as you have the right group. And finally, we're at my number 1, a big pro, at least for me, my favorite thing about the game, and that is the huge variety in the threats you'll face. You have enemies coming from the outside in 3 different sectors. You also have them coming inside your ship, and this is really the genius for me. Lots of games have ships attacking, although this game does it better than most with the great variety in those ships. But the fact that you're moving your guys around on the board while slimes pop up and slow your movements, or saboteurs pop up to blow up your engines, or an alien alien pops up who will literally grow from his egg and eat your crew members. It makes things crazy and tense, and every game, even having the exact same enemies but coming out in a different order, will feel like an entirely new puzzle, an entirely new tactical nightmare to deal with. I just love it, especially with the expansion, which adds in even more insanity. So overall, even after all these years, Space Alert is still one I would recommend, especially if you like real-time games, if you like games with some chaos and like limited communication, or if you like cooperative programming games like Mechs vs. Minions. But I think you should probably avoid this one if you don't like real-time, if you don't like programming, if you don't like a lot of chaos and dumb things happening. And also if you only think you'll play it co-op but with a different group every time so no one really becomes comfortable with the strategy, I don't think you'll get the best value out of it. And if you'd like to see the game in action with a full solo playthrough, although with a variant I made to take away the real-time, click the link that just popped up. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.